Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cynthia Barnes to the Outbound stage.
Outbound! I gotta tell you, this is a dream come true. I don't know about you, but the events of the past few years totally threw me for a loop. From mass shootings to natural disasters to the pandemic that never seems to go away. It seems like every time we get over one tragedy, another one jumps up to slap us in the face. It kind of feels like we're walking around in one of those inflatable bounce houses. You know what I mean? Like many of you, I've experienced my share of adversity. I've been homeless, I've been broke, and I've wondered whether or not I was going to make it. But like most sales professionals who face rejection every single day, we've got to come back with ways to be resilient. And if there's one group of people I know who is resilient as heck, it is salespeople. Let me start with a quick story. One day, a young lady went to her mom and said, "You know what, Mom, I am having some struggles, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to make it." Her mom said, "Follow me into the kitchen." So her mom got 3 pots of water and placed each on a high fire. She waited for them to boil, and in the first pot, she placed eggs. In the second pot, she placed carrots, and in the third pot, she placed ground coffee beans. She let them boil, and then she took them out and placed each in a separate bowl. She asked her daughter, "What do you see?" And her daughter said, "Carrots, eggs, and coffee." She then asked her daughter to feel the carrots, and she did, and she noted that they were soft. She asked her to feel the eggs, and she noted that they were hard after she peeled it. Then she noticed the coffee, and she smelled its rich aroma, and she said, "Mom, this is all nice and good, but what's the point?" She said each of these things, the carrots, the egg, and the coffee bean, all faced the same adversity, the boiling hot water. However, each of these responded differently. The carrots went into the hot water, hard and unrelenting. But then when adversity struck, that hot water hit them, they turned weak and limp. The eggs went in with a thin outer shell and a fluid liquid center, and they came out hard after they came out of the water. Then there were the coffee beans. The coffee beans were special though. After being subjected to the adversity, the hot water, they changed the water. So she asked her daughter, "Which are you, a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean?" So I want to ask you, which are you? The carrot, the egg, or the coffee bean? When adversity strikes, are you like the carrot, hard and unrelenting and strong, but then adversity strikes and you become weak and soft? Are you like the egg? You had a malleable heart, but through divorce, loss of a loved one, or a job loss, you become hardened? Or are you like the coffee bean? When things are at their worst, you change the environment around you for the better. So which are you? The carrot, the egg, or the coffee bean? I've got 3 strategies for you to help you level up your bounce back ability, because I believe bounce back ability, or BBA, is the #1 trait you can develop as sales professionals. Let me start with some backstory. We all know those people who, when faced with adversity, say, "You know what, why me? Why in the heck is this happening to me?" They play the victim and life holds no lessons for them. But the most resilient people, those who handle adversity well, are the ones who have the bounce back ability, and they actually thrive. I grew up in a town, Greentown, Indiana. Anyone ever been there? Okay, so you know that Greentown, Indiana is a sundown town. Did you know that? For who's not familiar with what a sundown town is? Okay, so a sundown town is an all-white community, town, municipality, that forbade blacks from being out after sundown. Back in the old westerns, Marlon Brando was famous for saying, "Don't let the sun go down on you in my town." That's where that comes from. So when we moved there many, many moons ago, they couldn't legally force us to leave because of equality and civil rights laws. But they could make life a little challenging for the only black family living there. First day of school, I was in junior high, and I'm walking down the hall, and I'm with my friends, and I hear a ruckus yelling. And I turn to my right, and I see this really tall guy. Now keep in mind, I'm relatively short, or as they call snack size, and I'm looking up at this guy, and he's huge. And he says to me, N-word, "What are you doing here?" I was shocked. Not because I heard the N-word, Lord knows I've heard that plenty of times. I was shocked because of the venom and the hatred behind what he said. I went on to class, shook it off, and I thought, you know what, it's an isolated incident, no big deal. Toughen up, Sin. The next day, same thing. Every single day for an entire school year, I was met with racial slurs and epithets from him and his friends. It was a tough year until he graduated. So why do I tell you that story? We all face adversity. We all have some sort of traumatic experience in our lives, and if we don't, hold on, it's coming. But the way we handle adversity determines our level of bounce-back ability. The most successful people in the world take that resilience, take that adversity, and they use it, they find meaning in it to help the greater good. So what did I do with mine? I started an association. I said that I'm going to turn my fear into fuel. I'm going to create a world, or do at least my part, to create a world where women in sales are judged not by the color of their skin or by their gender, but by their knowledge, skills, and abilities. That is the way that I'm turning my adversity into good. So let me ask you, what have you experienced in your life that is paralyzing you? How can you turn that pain into purpose? Lastly, ask yourself the hard question: am I using this to make me bitter or make me better? My next strategy is a hard one, probably the hardest one on here. And most sales professionals that I talk to hate it when I talk about this. But the second strategy is to accept responsibility. My second sales job was selling pharmaceuticals in Southeast Michigan, the legal kind. I had the company car, I had the Amex card to wine and dine my doctors, I was living on the top floor of a high-rise. Life was good. I was living high on the hog, or as my dad likes to say, I was pooping in high cotton. That's a Southern saying. Life was good, and I couldn't imagine anything better. I got complacent, though. I got cocky. Instead of seeing and calling on 8 to 10 doctors a day, I called on 4 or 5. And before I knew it, those 5-figure biweekly checks dwindled to 4-figure biweekly checks. And then 3-figure biweekly checks. And things were hard. I lost my home, I lost my personal car, and because pets don't do homeless, I had to surrender them to the kill shelter. It was a low period in my life. I was inconsolable. I cried for seemingly ever. And I went to my dad's house, and he said, "It's time for you to stop crying. The pity party is over." And he said, "You need to ask yourself one serious question and take time to answer it." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Who are you blaming for your situation?" And I said, well, shoot, I have a long list. The landlord, this person, my doctors weren't writing scripts. I got a whole plethora of people who are responsible for my demise. And he said, what's your role? And I said, nothing. I didn't do a thing. But that wasn't true. I had to admit to myself that the reason I was in that situation was because of it was my own fault. I didn't take responsibility for my actions until that point. I stopped prospecting, I stopped calling on doctors, I stopped doing the work, and as a result, I lost everything. We have got to accept responsibility for everything that happens in our world, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sure, there's going to be some things that happen to us, but the majority of it, those are the controllables that we can control. So who or what are you blaming for your lack of success in either life or career? Are you blaming your boss? Are you blaming your prospects, your customers, your clients? Starts here. You've got to accept responsibility and own your role. My last strategy is learn how to recharge. Prior to COVID, the big bag C, I was building the National Association of Women Sales Professionals. We held 120 in-person events around the globe per year. I was on the go so often, it was ridiculous. I was in the airport or in a different city 25 days a month. The running joke among my friends was, Cynthia, you don't pay a mortgage, you pay storage fees. Which was true. So my routine was this. I would unpack from my previous trip, pack for my next one, get up early the next morning, run to the airport, dash through TSA, because I didn't check luggage, because you know what they say, there's 2 types of luggage. Checked and lost. So I never checked a bag. Run through TSA, bored, and I say, you know what, there's about 20 minutes before the plane takes off. So I'm going to get some sleep because I can't do any work until we hit 10,000 feet and Wi-Fi kicks in, right? So I would snuggle into my cashmere wrap, put on my noise-canceling headphones, lower my eye shade, and knock out thinking 20 minutes should be enough, a power nap. One time, though, I was in my power nap, and the next thing I know, there was a jolt. And I woke up scared. I took off my headphones, took off my eye shade, and I looked around thinking, oh my gosh, we're going down. But then I hear the captain say, welcome to San Francisco International Airport. I said, wait, what? I just fell asleep in Detroit. How in the world am I now in San Francisco? It dawned on me then that I wasn't just tired, I was exhausted. I was glorifying the grind. You know those people who put on social media, I'm here, I'm there, I'm so busy, I can't do this because I've got other obligations? That was me. And glorifying the grind was killing me. So when I talk about recharging, you've got to. Too many sales professionals are afflicted by things such as insomnia, heart disease, high blood pressure, you name it. We're becoming a nation of workaholics, and it is literally killing us. As sales professionals, we are on all the time. We're on for our clients, we're on for our prospects, subordinates, bosses, even our family. We're on and in performance mode. But if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that if Serena Williams were to play 10 hours at Wimbledon every single day for 280 days a year, she would risk burnout and injury, right? The same thing applies to us. The more time we spend in the performance zone, the more time we need to spend in the recovery zone. Most of us imagine grit and resilience like Muhammad Ali fighting Joe Frazier, or a Navy SEAL navigating an obstacle course, or sometimes it's Tom Brady picking himself up off the turf to throw one more touchdown. We have got to stop associating grit and resilience with burnout and go, go, go. Somehow we've come across the idea that the longer we tough it out, the tougher we become, the more successful we become. And nothing could be further from the truth. So learn how to recharge. Recharge and recovery are essential to your success, and this is what it looks like. To absolutely recharge every single day, think of it this way. You work really hard, you stop, you recover, and then you work hard again. How many of you have heard of the Pomodoro technique? If you're not familiar with it, it's a technique that simply says you are going to work 25 minutes, stop, rest for 5 minutes, go pet the dog, go get something to drink, then you work for another 25 minutes. You do that 4 cycles, and then at the end of that, you take a 30-minute break. That allows your mind to recharge. Sales professionals I know go to bed thinking about what went on throughout the day. We think about what's going to happen the next day, and our minds don't shut off. We are constantly thinking. Rest is not the same as recharging. Just because you lie in bed for 8 hours doesn't mean that you are recharging or recovering. Your body is just at rest. It's like taking an Indy car going 120 miles an hour throughout the day, and then it's time to go to bed, and you hit 0, and you wonder, well, why am I not able to sleep? You have got to decompress. So try this. In addition to the Pomodoro technique, I want you to try no electronics, anything that requires plug-in, TV, phone, whatever, iPad, MacBook, 1 hour before bed. Do yourself a favor and give your body an opportunity to recharge. Deal? Who's willing to try it? Good. Thank you. There are so many benefits to strengthening and bolstering your bounce back ability. But the biggest benefit in the world is your ability to show up as your best self. Your colleagues, your family, friends deserve nothing less. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, absolutely. So, I challenge you, I dare you to strengthen your bounce back ability so strong that when you are faced with hot water, you react like the bean and change the world around you. And finally, I leave you with this. May you have enough happiness to make you smile, enough trials to make you strong, enough sorrow to keep you human, and enough joy to give you hope. I believe in you, and I'm cheering for you.